You're listening to A Maker's Mindset, 30 Lessons from the Lathe. I'm Martin Saban-Smith, and this is Lesson 4, The Extension of Self. Your tools are an extension of your hands. The tool sits between your intention and the wood. If you can't trust the tool, you can't work freely. If the tool fights you, your attention splits between the wood and the implement. Trust in tools comes from 4 things: sharpness, familiarity, an honest assessment of what each tool can and cannot do, and your skill level to use the tool correctly and safely. I watch new students approach the tool rack with a mixture of reverence and confusion. So many options, so many shapes and names: roughing gouge, spindle gouge, bowl gouge, skew chisel, parting tool, scraper. Each has its purpose, its personality, and its particular demands. The temptation is to think you need them all immediately. You don't. You only need a few tools that you know intimately. The standard set of 6 tools will do 95% of any turning you are likely ever to do. The most important thing about any tool is not which one it is, but whether it's sharp. A dull tool can be worse than no tool at all. It forces you to push harder, which can create catches. It tears the wood rather than cutting it. It makes you tentative when you should be confident. Every minute spent sharpening saves more minutes of sanding and frustration later. This isn't a theory, it's physics. There's a moment in every turning session when you realise the tool has dulled. Those smooth cuts become slightly rough. The chips that flew cleanly start to tear. Your body tenses slightly because the feedback has changed. You might not consciously register what's different at first, but something feels wrong. The tool that was gliding through the wood now seems to need an extra push. The sound shifts from a clean whisper to something slightly harsher. The shavings change too. Instead of long, consistent ribbons, you start getting shorter, more ragged pieces, or dust instead of chips. This is the moment to stop and sharpen. The temptation is always to push on, to finish what you're doing before stopping. But continuing with a dull tool teaches your hands bad habits and produces poor services. You compensate for the dullness by pushing harder, gripping tighter, adjusting your angle. All of these compensations become muscle memory if you do them often enough. Then, when you finally sharpen and the tool cuts properly again, your technique may have drifted and you readjust those compensations. It's far better to stop the moment you notice the change and restore the edge before bad habits form. Tool handles matter more than people think. The wrong handle makes even good tool control uncomfortable to use. Too long and it becomes awkward. Too short and you lack leverage. Too thick and your hand cramps. Too thin and you can't grip securely. Handles are a personal thing. What works for someone else might not work for you. This is why a few turners eventually make their own handles, fitting them precisely to hand size and their preferred grip. Buy the best tools you can afford. Cheap steel holds an edge poorly, and a tool that fights you teaches bad habits. 3 good tools will serve you better than 10 poor ones. Cheap tools often have handles that are too short, limiting control. They make learning harder because you're fighting the tool as well as learning the technique. Familiarity breeds confidence, as well as contempt if you're not careful. A tool you've used hundreds of times behaves predictably. You know how much pressure it needs, what angle works best, and where it wants to grab. This knowledge sits in your hands and your head. You can't learn it from reading or watching. You learn it through use, through mistakes, through paying attention to how the tool responds to different approaches. Trust in tools is ultimately trust in yourself. You've sharpened them properly, you've chosen the right tool for the task, you know how this tool behaves and what it can do. You've practiced enough that your hands know what to expect. This confidence allows you to focus on the work. The tool disappears, becoming just an extension of your intention. That's when real work happens. Thank you for listening. This is an abridged version of A Maker's Mindset. The full book with all the stories, references and the bits I had to cut for these episodes is available in paperback and Kindle from Amazon. I'll see you in the next episode.